Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Authors Up, your favorite place to be on Sunday evening at 7 p.m. We made it our favorite place to be, so we're going to make it your favorite place to be.
Exactly.
I'm to be here tonight and so glad to be here with my buddy, Queen Victoria.
Yes.
We're missing a third of the group.
Yes.
We're missing Miss Ruth, but Ruth went up to see the grandbaby, and she sent us pictures, and we have been asking her when we're going to be able to show you that beautiful baby, because she is a beautiful baby.
Yes.
I hope we'll get to do that soon. Good evening, Nikayetta. Good to have you. Thank you for joining us tonight. And Miss Victoria, what would you like to say to welcome the folks?
Well, good evening. First of all, to you, you are definitely one of my favorite people in the world. And we're missing our other one. And good evening, Nikayetta, and good evening to everyone in Facebook land, and as well as everyone who will watch in podcasts, will listen in the podcast world. And we just thank you all for being here. We could not be who we are without you. And so welcome. Now is a good time to like and share and let everybody know that Authors Up is in the building.
Yes. There's Miss Linda popping in. Hey there, Linda Cooks. How are you? Glad to have you today. And please feel free to share. And we're going to go ahead and get started. And we're going to start, although we're missing our compadre, we are going to start, as we usually do, talking about our weekend review. And Victoria, I'm going to let you go first.
All right, I'm gonna go first. That's fine. You know what? I always like to be, fully transparent. And this past week wasn't a grand week for me. Well, it started off good. I came off of the weekend of last weekend. My one of my best friend in the whole wide world, her son got married. Sorry, my light. Here we go. Hold on. I'm gonna keep going. I'll get my light back. But my friend's son got married, and then I spent the weekend with the hotel, and I was telling everybody, everybody came to see me because he happens to live here in Durham. And I felt like all my friends and people I went to school with, they came into town, and I said, oh, everybody came to see me, even though it was for the wedding. But it felt nice that everybody came into my neck of the woods, and I didn't have to travel, and the wedding was beautiful. And just got some great pictures. Hang on, y'all. I'm coming. But then then I started not to feel so great this week, and been having some physical challenges. Here we go. Uh-oh.
Where'd you go? There
we go. We always say you never know what's going to happen. Why is it always me?
Hey, I know. I'm
just talking and it just went out. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I wasn't feeling so great. And you know what? It turned out to be not only physical, but mental, right? Okay. And so I am not ashamed to say that I started counseling this week, and I'm still working with my nutritionist with my health issues. And then towards the end of the week, like even tonight, I'm sitting up, I'm in the bed. You couldn't tell it, but I'm hurting. but it's okay. It's okay. I pride myself on always trying to look better than I feel. And when I popped on tonight, you said, "Oh, you look so beautiful." And I said, "Oh, thank you." She don't even know.
You
She,
too.
she don't even know Jesus. I'm propped up on every leaning side, but God is good. But God is
All
good.
the time. He is good all the
So,
time.
while it hasn't been the best physically, and I've been in more pain than I like to admit, I still thank God for being able to push through and for Sunday evenings at 7. It's something about Sunday evenings at 7 when I get on here with my friends and my family. It just gives my spirit a
Yes.
boost like nothing else. So,
Yeah.
yes, I got prayer and praying, and I listen to my music, and I'm going to counseling, and I'm talking to my friends, and it makes the difference in my world. So I'm down, but not out.
There you go.
I'm not hopeless. I'm
There
not
you go.
hopeless, and I'm not feeling so discouraged that I feel all is lost. And no, it's not suicidal. I'm not any of that. I still am able to praise God for His goodness, graciousness, and His mercy toward me. Because it could be another way. It really could be another way. But
Right.
despite it all, He is still God, and I'm joyful. I'm still joyful. So I just thank God for that, and I look forward to week being a better week. That's how I'm going to say it. This is going to be a better week.
A better week. A better week. A better way.
Yes.
In a better way.
How was your week?
I can't remember.
What?
Sometimes when we have breaks in between,
Right.
I think, did I talk about that last week? I can't
We didn't
remember.
talk about anything last week because we had a replay last week. Yeah. Because I had the wedding and all.
I'm not sure. I know that I don't know whether I had shared the fact that I had reconnected with a high school friend. I don't know.
No,
I didn't tell you all that. Oh,
no,
okay. Well,
no.
that happened. Must have been a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
Daughter. It was funny. Let me tell you this real quick. It was funny because it brought me to the fact of understanding and knowing that the people that I have been closest to for the longest period of time are people that I interacted with for the shortest period of time.
Wow.
Wow. My friend Gloria, who recently passed out in California,
Right.
we worked together maybe a few months. I don't think it was even a year that we were on the same job, and she moved out to California.
Wow. But y'all stayed friends all those years.
Years, right? And my friend in California, in Florida, we had just connected because a coworker said, "You all would be great friends. You'd be great friends." And she called me and we talked, when I say for hours.
Wow.
And just had so much in common. And we decided that Saturday, we were going to get together. We were going to just hang out and shop, eat, do all these things.
Yes.
Well, I didn't hear from her.
Okay.
And I was not happy about that.
Oh.
So when I got to work that Monday, I saw the lady who had said we would be such best buds. And she said, "How are you doing?" I said, I'm doing good, but let me tell you about your friend.
Oh.
And I said, we talked on the phone, talk. We were supposed to get together Saturday. Never heard from her. Don't know what happened, but I don't think we're gonna be the best friends that you thought we were gonna be. And she said, "Get your coat." And I said, "Get my coat." And she said, yes. She said, "Marilyn was in a car accident. We got to go to the hospital."
Oh, wow.
So while I was waiting for her and looking for her calling me, she was putting her groceries in the trunk of her car, and a young man, and I mean young, 17, 18 years old, backed up with such speed that he hit her. And the tire tracks were across her forehead. That's
goodness.
With which he hit her.
Oh my goodness.
That's the thing. She was right in the middle of, or in the throes of, a divorce.
Wow.
She had no family here With all
Uh-huh.
her family was in Florida, and she was living with her in-laws. Her
Look at
in-laws
that.
took her in,
Oh,
and she was in a body cast for a solid year. A solid year. And we talked every single day for a
uh-huh.
solid year.
Wow.
Just a day. And that's how we became friends.
Oh, wow.
And we're still friends. So we didn't work together that long. We didn't
Right.
really know each other that long. But that's what happened. Now,
Look
my
at that.
found friend, same kind of thing. We went to high school together for 1 year,
Right.
and we remained friends until I moved here. When I moved here, we lost connection.
Oh, wow.
And her daughter found Lynn on Facebook, and we reconnected.
Oh, that Facebook ties us together.
Facebook comes through, and it was just good to hear her voice and good
Yes.
to talk to her. And we had a long conversation, and I think I want to do a show about it, and I may have you come on with me, and maybe
Sure.
a couple of other people, because we got into a really, really in-depth conversation about aging,
Yes. Yes.
what that looks like to us, what that looks like to our family,
Yes.
those
Yes.
just
Sure doesn't look like what I thought it would.
a real transparent conversation that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing that happened. The second thing, I had a treat yesterday. One of my daughters, I don't have a one natural daughter, but I have a slew of other daughters.
Right. Right.
And one of them came and picked me up and took me to brunch. And we went to Victoria's Secret and did some shopping. She did some shopping. And
You got some smell good.
we went out and delivered some things that she had to deliver, and came
Oh.
back and we stopped by Nothing Bundt Cake. And
Oh, now wait a minute. That was really the icing on the cake right there. Stop right
really
there.
was. It really was the icing on the cake, and the icing on the carrot cake.
What kind did you have?
Carrot cake.
Oh, that's one of my
It was so
favorites.
good.
With the
So I
buttercream
walked
icing
around.
or the
Yeah, but it had a little bit of drizzle icing.
yes.
Ooh, it was good. And I walked around a little bit, which I don't do very often, but I was determined that, if I had to stop every 3 or 4 steps,
Yes.
I was going to do that, because there are things I want to do and I have to get my body stronger to do it.
Yes.
Like you were talking about,
Yes.
sometimes we have to push past the pain or
Yes.
whatever it happens to be. But yeah, so I had a really, really good day yesterday. It
Well,
was
that's awesome.
just a sweet day. Yep, yep. And I'm looking forward to doing it again. Just
So
getting
nice.
out more. That's my thing, to get out more and to just move more than I do. And I did, do that setting on my watch, so that the alarm goes off at a certain time and says, okay, it's time for you to get up and move.
And move, yes.
And that has been really, really, really helpful, because, I'll sit at this computer and I get lost in it.
Yeah, we can, and it's easy to do. It's easy to do. Like
Easy.
Hannah said, she likes carrot cake too. Girl, you would love Nothing Bundt Cakes.
It is so good. It was such a treat. And I tell her, I said, I'm not going to fool with you too often, because I'm sitting somewhere in a diabetic coma with all the sweets and stuff I ate. But it was so good, and it was just so much fun, and it felt good just to be
outside. And I understand it was a good day. I wasn't able to get out myself this weekend, but I heard it was a beautiful day.
That was beautiful. It was
good.
Beautiful. So
that makes me smile.
Oh, as well. Well, this, as our listeners and viewers know, this is our forum for authors by authors, and that sounds so official.
Yes.
But it's a place where we come together and have fun on Sunday night. That's what I like to say.
All right.
But this Sunday's a little different, because, as most of you know, we started a book club this year. We haven't done it. This is the first year that we've done it. And last week we ran the actual interview with the authors of
Right.
this particular book, and then tonight we're going to talk about it. Yep, it is 10 legacy lessons of wealth. So we're going to give you our perspective on it. If anybody pops in who has actually read the book, then and wants to share what they felt about it or how they thought about it.
I'm trying to get you see the book. I love, I love good reading the book, having the actual book. Yeah.
So right now, all it's doing is making us miss your face.
Thanks, I know. But I have the book in my hand. I love, love, love watching the book.
I have my copy as well. I don't know whether I'll do any better than you
Oh,
did.
yes, I see you, yes. And the author sent us each a copy and
Yeah,
autographed our books for
I
us.
know
So it's really a special book to me.
it is very much so, very much so. But we're gonna talk a little. Well, let me tell you this first. We have another book coming up that's coming up
Right.
in September, and we really, really want the participation from some of our readers and writers out there. I'll call them our readers and writers because
Yes.
everybody who joins us is not a writer or an author, but they enjoy the candid conversation and the things that we learn. So we're going to kind of tap into some of our audience participants for our next book that we're going to do for the book club, and it's called Atomic Habits. I'm going to tell you that right now. So those
Okay.
some of you may have read it already, and some of you just start getting prepared now, so that you can join in the conversation that we'll have. And we're going to talk more about that as we go through the next few months. But this was a, or I should say, this is a special show, and it's because we're kind of going to kind of give our perspective. We're usually talking to the authors and allowing them to share
Right.
their, how did they write the book, why they wrote the book, how long it took,
Right. Right.
writing journey that we get into. But now we are going to just kind of talk about what our journey was like reading it. What we got out of it, what we really think about it. And Victoria always says, and she never says it lightly, and I want you all to know that when she says get the book,
Right.
it is because she really believes in the book. She believes in the
Yes.
author. She believes in what the book is saying to
Yes.
us. And I mention that because a lot of the authors are surprised that we read the book.
Yes. They
And
are.
there's nothing that we bring to you that we have not already read, that
Right.
we haven't already taken the time
Right.
to study it on our own and have our own perspective. Sometimes they're the same and sometimes they're very different.
Right. 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 Right.
And that is the way it is with things that we read and things that we see. So we learn from the book itself that we read. We learn from the authors that write the books, and then we learn from each other. And this
Right.
this is
Right.
a learning from each other experience tonight, because we there's some questions that we're going to answer that we have not answered to each other. So
True. That's
this will
true.
be the first time that we're kind of talking about some of these things, and
Yes.
so we're gonna see how we go.
Well, I
'Cause
just I just want to briefly talk about us reading the book on our own too. I really think that like you said, a lot of the authors are impressed that we read the book, but I think that we couldn't do it any other way.
right.
I don't think we could present a book that we really haven't checked out ourselves, or we just bring somebody on just to talk about their book, and ask the standard questions. No, we try to really be transparent about that. We try to be authentic, and I think it really shows in our show that
Mm-hmm.
we are authentic with the authors, and we really appreciate their story behind the stories, and we appreciate the time they've taken to write their books and their stories. And each story is unique. Each book is unique. while some of the say it may be a journal or whatever the case may be, some of the
Right.
stories are alike, but each author's journey is unique. And I think we highlight that. And I think that's what helps to make our show unique. And I couldn't see it any other way. I wouldn't want to talk to an author if I hadn't read the book, or at least looked through it or read a chapter or two, because I would feel fake, and I don't ever want to do that on a show.
No, no.
Mm-mm.
And I think with reading it as well, when we say, and we say it in the beginning of the show all the time,
Mhm.
everybody has a story.
Yes.
Everybody has a story, and it just depends on whether or not they want to tell it. And yes, we have some fictional books, but they have an author behind them.
Right.
We have some books from different genres that we may never touch. The fantasy books, the books that are written for
Right.
children, not
Right.
necessarily what we're living through and going through, but the story in and of
Yes.
itself is important. And
Yes.
I think that anytime, and you and I can both attest to this,
Right.
I'm sure Ruth will agree, when you write something, whether it is a book or whether it is a documentary, a biography, whatever it happens to be, part of you is in that.
Yes. Yes.
Part of the writer
Yes.
is in that book. Part of the writer is in that story. And we often ask the authors that come on, particularly those who are writing from a personal perspective,
Hmm.
how did your family feel?
Yes.
How
Yes.
did the
Did you
people who
get permission to share
wrote
that? Yes.
this of this writing and this work, how did they feel about it? Because no story is singular. Your fibromyalgia journey is
Yes.
also your daughter's fibromyalgia.
Right. And I've actually asked them to tell me, and I'm going to include it in my book, how they felt about it.
How they
So
felt.
I've
How they,
got two of the three out of the three already, and waiting for the third one. But
mhm.
then in my book, it'll include their perspective, which I think was very important. And I learned some things already.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't because I didn't see it from their side. I saw how I was, but not how
Mhm.
they were.
Yeah, yeah. So all of that is taken into consideration. So when I think about the 10 legacy lessons of wealth,
Yes.
there are some good things in there about, and the two questions were, what did you like about the book?
Right.
And what was your favorite legacy lesson?
Okay.
So right now, tell me, Victoria, what did you like about the book?
What I liked about the book was that it was very easy to understand.
Okay.
It was very easy. It was very well laid out. It made sense. It just made, and it made perfect sense. And while some of it I may have heard before, and some of it was new, it all just came together and made sense. I was very, very impressed by this book.
Mhm.
And I liked that they did it together. I liked that it was a shared project together. That made it unique for me, because, as we know, sometimes it's a little hard to write with somebody else. And listening to their story, they're just the cutest couple. And once we got to talk to them, now when I go back and read the book, I actually hear it in his voice.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah.
it just makes a lot of sense. And it's still a book that I want to make sure my children each have a copy of. And
Hmm.
that was my initial thought of it too. And I still feel that way. I haven't been able to do it, but they need these lessons, because it is so simple. Even they can understand it. And
Hmm.
they range in age from 19 to 26 to 27 now, excuse me. They can get it. And if they get this at an earlier age, I would love to know that they are able to take care of themselves, and and it teaches them things that I didn't know to teach them. So
Right.
that's what I loved about it.
Hmm.
What about you?
I liked it because they could have actually uh, left the wealth part off of the title. because these are 10 legacy lessons.
Lessons. That's
And
right.
that's what I like most about it.
I
Uh,
agree with you.
there were some great things. Don't get me wrong. There was great
Right.
things in there that were financially targeted and financially oriented. And I love those. And I love it made me stop and think because I'm
Yeah.
always my thing is always what's in your hand.
Right, right, right.
Whenever I get to a point, if I'm at a tight financial place, or if I'm, at a place of feeling I need to be doing something other than what I'm doing, where's the
Yeah,
money?
yeah,
I don't have any money, and we go through all of those things. But, it comes to a point where if I believe that God has given me everything that I need to have in order to fulfill the purpose for which he has put me in the earth,
right.
I'm not going to get any more.
Okay. Okay.
So then I have to ask myself, like Moses was asked, what's in your hand, Moses?
Mm.
So I always end up going back to asking myself, what's in my hand? What do I have in my hand? And there's a
Right.
piece in here, in this book, that when we go back and talk about our favorite parts and read a little bit from it, if we have time to do that,
Okay.
there's a part in the book that just flows right into that thought process for me.
Right.
So that was, it is so life oriented. It is so grounding beyond just the wealth piece. And when you were saying about, teaching your girls and things you
Yeah.
didn't know to teach,
Yeah.
there's a part in the book, and we talked about it actually at length in the interview, about the 5 hinges, the things
Yes.
that are important. And those hinges are life lessons that
Yes.
that we taught but didn't know we were teaching them.
Right.
Be
Right.
respectful, say please, say thank you.
Yes.
Those are just good, how to be a good citizen, decent person, child of God things. those
Yes.
those
Yes.
hinges. And it's not necessarily so you can get well. It is so you can be better, so you can enjoy your life, so you can do the things that God has called you to do. So
But
that's what I liked about it. That's what I liked
I
about
had to just put this in there too. This book kind of shifted my ideal that I was even worth having wealth, if that makes
it.
sense to you.
Okay.
That makes sense to you. I was raised in a very strict religious upbringing, and it was so focused, right, on Jesus is coming soon. You got to get your house in order. Everything, God is looking at you and everything. I wasn't taught to appreciate having money, and that money is a bridge that you can build to help others.
Right.
It was always about make sure you're doing it right, because God is watching and the angels of heaven, and you want your name written in the Lamb's Book of Life, and all those things. I'm not saying that is not good, but we weren't taught. Yes, we were taught to pay our tithes, that the tenth belonged to God, that, but we weren't taught that it is our right to have wealth, that having money is nothing wrong with it. That's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with having money, and that money is to be used to fulfill your assignment that God has given you. But
Mhm.
that message did not get to me until later in life. That
Yeah.
is nothing. That having money doesn't make you wrong. You always heard about it's easier for a camel to get through the eye of the needle, right, than a rich man to get into heaven. But so that's the lessons that I was always taught. So then you always hear money is the root of all evil, which is not the scripture. It's the love of money.
Right,
It's
right,
the root of all evil. So it's having to reprogram messages that I was given all my life about money and how it's okay to have money. And matter of fact, it's really a good thing to have right about now, right?
things we have to unlearn.
Yes, yes,
We have to
yes.
unlearn. Yeah.
That was the greatest impact this book had on me, was to stop thinking that having money was so bad. And for me, why do I want the money? I want to have money so that I can help out others. That if somebody called me up today and said I needed something for XYZ, I could do it. I wish I had enough money that I could buy 10 tickets to Leah's gala, in October, because it's such a worthy cause. Those are the kind of things I wish I had a lot of money for. Not so I could fill my closet with clothes and jewelry, because I have plenty of that, and I want to look nice, yes, but I have plenty of it. But I would love to help my immediate family, those who I know who are struggling. So I would like to leave something for my children, like my parents didn't leave for me, not because they didn't want to, but because nobody showed them how,
Right.
or told them how
Right.
to do it.
Right. And that is something else about the legacy piece. Now that strikes me a little differently, because
Okay.
my father owned his own business
Uh-huh.
for 30 some years. He was one of the first African American watchmakers
Wow.
in the U.S. And this was pre-battery days.
Okay.
This was
So
when you had hairsprings and mainsprings.
mechanics in that watch.
Tiny, tiny
Yes.
pieces. Well, I'm a daddy's girl, so I would
Okay.
do anything to be with my dad.
Yes.
So after school, I would head straight to the shop,
Right.
and I would watch him. I would watch him deal with these little tiny pieces, and I still have
Wow.
his tools. I still
Wow.
have some of his tools. But here's the thing: I could not be the watchmaker that he was.
Mm.
I don't care how much I learned, and I don't care how much I tried. The reason I couldn't is because my hands perspire.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I would be
Yeah.
rusting
Yes.
the
Yes.
parts.
And that little tool would slip right your hand.
I was putting it together.
Yeah.
Well, because he did not have a concept of legacy.
Yeah.
When he died, the business died with him.
Got you. Yeah.
And all of that was lost. So
Wow.
when I see this,
Wow.
this 10 legacy lessons
Yes.
for wealth, yes, but that for wealth piece hits me differently than it
Got
does
you.
you. You know what I'm
Got
saying?
you. Yes, I do.
That's what I liked about having the opportunity to do this, because there are lessons when we come back together after reading this
Yeah.
kind of book
Yeah.
that we learn from each other,
Yeah.
our own personal journeys that
Yes.
we would not have gotten any other way.
And that's right. That's what the book club is all about.
Yeah,
Being able to share these perspectives. I love it.
yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it. Personal favorite. Which was your favorite legacy lesson, and why?
Lesson number 1. Well, you go ahead. I went first last time. You go ahead. What was your favorite?
I want you to go first.
Okay, all right.
You first.
Lesson number 1 was on page 5 to 6, and it also goes back to what I was saying previously about changing my thinking. And I think this statement right here gets me. Let's say, hold on, where is it? On page 5. He says, "So I realized that every rich person in the world started life just like you and me. We are all born naked, broke, and ignorant. Some people grow up, but they're still broke and ignorant. I like that part. And he says the key for me was that the voice in his head was always stronger and louder than any voice on the outside. And the author of the book did not have a college education or anything like that, but
Right.
he just knew that in his head, even though he had no zero cash, he says, and no formal education past the sixth grade, he had plenty of belief, ambition, and courage. And he believed that if someone else could figure out how to make a lot of money, then he could figure it out too. And I was like, wow. And he says, I was willing to do whatever it took. And that really struck me. And I have it underlined in the book. Are we really willing to do what it takes?
Whatever it takes. Yes.
Whatever it takes. If we have a business, I've been introduced to another business besides my jewelry, and I'm taking my time with this because I haven't even said anything yet because I want to see how it works, and then I want to be smart and strategic after reading this book.
Mm-hmm.
Not to just jump out there if it is not the right opportunity for me. So this book has really taught me some things, but I don't want to be growed up and still be broken ignorant. Because we have books like this that could teach us things. And it is no longer an excuse, well, my parents didn't tell me about it.
Right.
Well, maybe they didn't, but now I know a little different. How can I do different? And then how can I pass the lessons on?
Mm-hmm.
That's how it has affected me. How can I make it a little bit different for my children? Have and even down to life insurance. My parents, my dad had just enough to bury him with. My mother has just enough to bury her with. That's not something that I will be the same for me. I'll be able to give my children a little something to keep them going, to set them up for a business if they would so choose. But
Right.
they've got to learn the lessons. But we have to learn the lessons, apply the lessons, and we have to do different. Because I would still be broken ignorant if I took these lessons and then didn't apply them to my life.
Right. Right.
What about you?
I like it. I like it. I like it. Mine is kind of on the same wavelength as yours, but
Hmm.
it falls under legacy lesson number 6,
Okay.
which is about becoming the architect of your own life. We always talking about living your best life now,
Yes.
and I want to, I want to do be the best that I can be, the best me that I can be, and you have to know that. And he put it here in the beginning of that chapter. He said, "Life is not about finding yourself. Life
Yes.
is about creating yourself. You know,
Yes.
how are you going to do that?" And he gave a little story in the beginning about how he simply made the decision that he was going to move away from his parents and away from his family, and he was going to get started on his own. uh, and she asked him what let me see if I can find. She asked me what I was planning to do. Of course, I didn't have a clue. Her next question was, do you have any money? I told her no, none.
Not a bit. Ah,
Gave him a $20 bill and told him to take that. And she said, can you get home if anything goes wrong? I responded that I could always hitchhike across the country. She said, well, at least keep a dime to make a call home.
wow.
And then they drove off. They let him do it. They let him do it. But
Oh my goodness. I don't
there
know about that. I don't know if
but
I can leave
this is what it said. Our voices on the inside. You were saying something about voices. I don't know whether this is the same quote from chapter 1 or not. But our
Yeah.
voices on the inside must be louder than
Yes.
all of the voices on the outside. And
Yes.
once you conquer that, you can't be stopped.
Right.
As adults, we all have the choice to become the architect of our own life. And
Yes.
with this, and I don't know whether you agree with this or not, and those who are listening can kind of, make up their own minds. But he said, after 8 decades of life, which means after 8 decades of life, understand that it's never too late.
That's right.
I personally believe the most important decisions anyone makes, and these are the 6 decisions that he said: the person you marry,
Mm.
how you take care of your health,
Mm.
how you make a living,
Mm-hmm.
the friendships you make, your continuing education, and what you decide to unlearn.
Wow.
Decide to unlearn. If you get those 6 things down, if you're looking at those 6 things, then I tell you what, you cannot be stopped. Whatever it is you set out to do, you're going to be able to accomplish it, because it's all going to spin off of these 6 things, which he feels are the most important decisions that you make. And I couldn't agree with him. I couldn't help but agree with him, because I started thinking about it even this evening, and I thought, okay, no, those 6 are good. What would I add to that? And I could not come up with a thing. I couldn't
Yeah,
come
I
up.
don't think I would add to it. I think I might shift them around a little bit.
Yeah, not necessarily in that order.
Right. I would definitely put how you take care of your health number one,
Mhm.
especially as I'm in my 60s now and looking back on how I could have done something differently when I was like in my 30s. If
Yeah.
I had done it then, I wouldn't be worrying about all this now. But hindsight is the best sight. But I do think your health is number one. I gotta be healthy, even if as I enter into a relationship, how I take care of myself will be viewed as how I'm going to take care of the person I'm with. Correct? So
Mhm.
I don't know. I might.
Man, I'm not necessarily. I can't argue with that one way or the other, because I'm not sure that these things are necessarily in order
in
of
the
it.
right order. Yeah. Yeah.
I just think
Yeah.
they are 6 things that he
Yes.
thinks
Yes.
are most important.
Yeah, I'm saying that as I looked at them as we talking about them, when I first read them, I thought they were kind of in the order, but now that we're kind of talking about them, no, they're interchangeable and they
Yeah,
could change.
yeah.
I've been thinking about number five. I had said I would never go back to school and finish my master's, but it is now something I'm thinking about. Is that
Well,
something I could do?
the other thing that you have to look at in number 5, for me, the other thing
Yeah.
I looked at in number 5 was not necessarily formal education.
Ah, yes, but continuing education.
Was an education. This is part of lifelong learning.
Yes. Yes.
This book.
Yes,
So I don't think it did. I think that that education can come from a number of sources and resources,
I agree.
and
I
it
agree with you.
doesn't have to be
Right,
degree oriented or
right.
degree dependent. Although I think it's admirable, and if you go back, let me know, because I think that's a wonderful thing to do.
I'll let you know. You'll be among the first to know.
The other
But,
thing I wanted to mention for me, the takeaway
mhm.
for me, uh, in terms of Moses, what's in your hand? We always talk about whatever I do, I should be solving a problem for somebody.
Mhm.
Whatever
Mhm.
I'm selling, whatever I'm talking about, whatever it should be something that makes a difference or creates a change for somebody. And
Right.
with that, he has a section in there called Box and Decide. It's called Box and Decide, but
Yeah.
I call it the 3 Ps, because it goes along for me with what's in your hand.
Uh-huh.
There's a problem.
Uh-huh.
You turn that problem into a project,
Uh-huh.
and you turn that project into profit.
All right. All
Then
right.
you drop the mic and walk away.
That's it.
That's it.
And it goes with my favorite thing, which is one of my personal favorites is on page 15. Don't do what others do. Supply what they buy.
Yes, yes, yes,
Supply what is in demand. Right.
yes,
I love
yes,
that.
yes. And that sounds like Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There always going to be some there. While this shows you can become a millionaire,
Yeah.
it also shows you that there are people who will never become millionaires.
Right.
They would rather be consumers.
Right.
Everybody's not trying to own. Everybody's not trying to have and live life on that level.
True.
And what you're doing for those of us, you, whomever, that are looking at the wealth of it all, who are
Yes.
looking to provide that service or whatever, there are always going to be people that want it.
That's it.
That
Supply
want
and demand. Are we going to be a
Supply
supplier?
We are at 7:46.
Oh my goodness, we are. How did that happen? It's just the two of us talking.
Because we can talk. That's what we can do. We can write and we can talk.
We can talk.
Read, write, and talk. That's what we can do. Read, write, and talk.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I tell you what, I enjoyed hearing your perspective.
Likewise.
In Legacy Lessons of Wealth. I enjoyed being able to take another look at the book.
Yeah.
From a different angle.
Yes.
From a different perspective, and learn some things actually that I hadn't thought about before. So I'm thankful that we had the Coins on the program, that they shared their knowledge with us, and that we had an opportunity to share that knowledge with our viewers and our listeners. So I thank them for being a part of this part of our journey with the book. And I don't know what's going to happen next week, but come on back. This is our place to be. We hope you have made it yours. Keep us on your calendar. Keep us where you know that you can find Authors Up and see what we got going on. Victoria, you have some final notes. I know
she didn't leave me to spiel. Well, I don't know where it is, but I'm just going to go for the top of my head. Please be reminded that this show will air again right here on ALH Broadcasting on Facebook this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. as well. Also, we are on anywhere where podcasts can be found. It'll be downloaded later on this week. Look for us on the Authors Up Show. You can connect with us also on Instagram and Facebook. Are we on Facebook? Authors Up, yeah. Authors Up. We're there. Instagram and Facebook. And if you have any comments about tonight's show, if you'd like to be an author, if you'd like to recommend a book, just let us know. Send us an email at authorsup@gmail.com. I think that's
well done. Well done. Thanks, Victoria. And we thank each of you for joining us tonight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. And we hope that you will keep us in mind when you think about lifelong learning, when you think about change, when you think about being a better you, or whatever it may be. Think about us and some of the programs that we have brought you that will help you to grow, help you to be empowered, help you to be the best version of yourself, and different ways to do that. Just keep in mind, we're here.
Yeah.
We're here, and we are that forum for authors, by authors.
Yes.
If you've got something you want to share, just like Victoria said, get in touch with us. Let us know, and we will be more than happy to explore the possibilities. Okay. But for right now, that is it for us for tonight.
That is it. We did it.
Thank you for being here. Victoria, have an amazing week, and we pray all of our viewers have an amazing week as well. That is it for us for tonight. We are ending. We are out. Bless you, everybody.
Good night, Browns girl.
Good night.